Morning, boys and girls. I hope that you're having a wonderful day so far. I really enjoyed our Zoom call yesterday. Um, it was good to see all of your faces, of the people that were able to join us. If you weren't able to join us yesterday, hopefully you'll be able to tomorrow at 1 o'clock when we have another Zoom call. Today, the KFC winner should be announced for the person from each grade level that wins a KFC family meal. So we'll be sure to get in contact with you if you are the lucky winner. So today's video covers packet number 6, day 8. So that's what we should be looking at in our packet. The first thing that it says is we are going to do a phonological awareness activity. It says, say the following words out loud one at a time. Ask student to say a word that rhymes for each word below. So remember, when we're saying rhyming words, you're changing the beginning sound. You're not changing the middle or end. When words rhyme, they have the same middle and ending sound. So, for example, the first word is came. Think of some words that you could rhyme with the word came. They can be real or nonsense. Some example responses are provided, but students can come up with others. This task is about sound, not spelling. So again, this is not one that you're writing anything down. This should all be by you saying the word that rhymes with the one given. And it can be real or a nonsense word, as long as it rhymes. So you have 5 words there. You're gonna hear the word, say it, and then say a word that rhymes with it. So it has just a different beginning sound. The middle and end stays the same. After that, it says reference material. Have student write the alphabet across the top of his or her paper. Using the alphabet you wrote, put the following words in ABC order using the first letter. So across the top of your page, you're going to write the alphabet, A all the way through Z. And these are the words you are putting in alphabetical order. And as always, when we're putting words in alphabetical order, we start by looking at their first letter. Then we go through our alphabet. A, do I have any words that start with A? No, so I go to the next letter in my alphabet. B, any words that start with B? I see one. So when I put these words in alphabetical order, broke is the first word. And I can cross that out. And then I go C, any words that start with C. So that's how we're going to put our words into alphabetical order. After that, it says read the content, text, land, and water. So we have the same book for writing and content. So we can go ahead and read that now. Excuse me. So it's land and water. Let's find that. And then I will read it to you, but then I expect you to try and read it to yourself as well. Okay. So land and water, it has a table of contents here. Gives us good information. A ball in space. Earth is like a big ball in space. Earth looks blue because most of it is covered by water. The land on Earth looks mostly green or brown from space. Land comes in many shapes and sizes. There are many kinds of land and water on Earth. Mountains and hills. When land rises high, it is called a mountain. Some mountains have flat land around them. Other mountains are part of a group of mountains near each other. A hill is when the land rises just a little. Hills are smaller than mountains. Valleys. When land dips low, it is called a valley. Valleys can be small and narrow. They can also be big and wide. So valleys are the space between two mountains where the land becomes low. Streams and rivers. When it rains or when snow melts, water flows downhill in streams. Streams join each other to make small rivers. Small rivers join each other to make big rivers. Streams and rivers flow into ponds, lakes, and oceans. Ponds and lakes. Ponds and lakes are water with land all around them. Ponds are small, while lakes are bigger. Most ponds and lakes are filled with fresh water. This means that the water is not salty. Oceans and islands. Oceans cover most of the earth. Oceans are so big that you cannot see across them. They are filled with salt water. The land under the ocean is called the ocean floor. The ocean floor has valleys. The ocean floor also has mountains. Here's a diagram where it explains where the ocean floor is, the mountain, the island that's above the water, and the valley. The tops of some mountains stick out above the water. These mountains become islands. Conclusion. Earth is covered by land and water. The different shapes of land and water make our planet interesting and beautiful. Awesome. So after we've read that, it says your job is to come up with the main idea. What was the big idea that the author wanted you to take away from reading that, Land and Water? Write the main idea of the text and one detail to support the main idea. So you are writing the main idea, which is the big thing that the author wanted you to take away from reading the book, and one supporting detail. The supporting detail kind of falls under the main idea. It's something that proves that this is the main idea. So here's the main idea, the big idea that the author wanted you to take away from the story. And what's one thing from the story that made you think that was the main idea? That's what you're doing for reading and writing. And then, of course, we have an optional Watch the WHRO Learn to Grow segment from 1:15 to 1:30 and practice what was talked about in today's segment. Next, we have math. For math today, we're doing some estimation. So you're looking at a group of stars. Let me show you what it looks like in the packet. Right here. This big group of stars. Look at the picture above. Without counting, which number is the most reasonable to represent this set of shapes? 4, 40, or 400? Circle the one that is the closest or the most reasonable to represent this set of shapes. So, you're not counting all the stars. You're just choosing the one that makes the most sense. Does it make the most sense to say that there are 4 stars, 40 stars, or about 400 stars? And it is about. You're not saying there are exactly 4, there are exactly 40, or there are exactly 400. You're saying there are about 4, about 40, or about 400. It's which one is the closest without counting them. Think about what makes the most sense. So after you've circled one of those, 440 or 400, answer these questions. Why did you choose your answer? Is 4 a reasonable choice? Why or why not? That means, is 4 a good choice for how many stars are there? Why or why not? Is 40 a reasonable choice? Why or why not? So is 40 a good choice? Is 400 a reasonable choice? Why or why not? Reasonable means, could it actually be? Or could it actually happen? Could there actually be 4? Why or why not? Could there actually be 40? Or could there actually be 400? Answer those questions after you've decided. Then you're going to play an estimation game. It says, and when you estimate, you are using the information that you know to make an educated guess. You're not just guessing because that would be random. You're using what you have in your brain to help you make a smart choice. So next we're playing an estimation game. Collect small objects in your house without counting. For example, pennies, buttons, bottle caps, and put them in a container. So don't count them. Just put a collection of small objects in a container. That can be a cup, a jar, whatever, but don't count them. Make an estimate. How many do you think you collected? So after you've put them in the jar, look at about how many there are. Don't count them and make an estimate. So that's using what you know to make a smart choice about how many you think are in there. Do you think there are more or fewer than 10? How do you know? Do you think there are more or fewer than 100? How do you know? These are the questions that you're answering. Come up with a plan for how you can count the objects, then count them. So you don't have to count by ones. What's a quicker way you could count them? Think about our skip counting. After you determine how many objects are in the container, tell someone how you counted the objects. So practice skip counting to count all of the objects after you've made your estimate. And then it says refer back to your original estimate. Was your estimate too low, too high, or just right, and why? So was your estimate too small, too big, or was it about right? Was it close to the actual number? So that is your math for today. Kind of some fun hands-on things for math. The things that we're doing for content say read and ask for support if you need it. Land and water. Share your ideas about the story as you read it. So land and water is the same story that you read for writing. You can reread it if need be. If you remember, that's fine. What are physical surroundings? So there is a page right after that book about surroundings. So let's look at that. So after you've read land and water, right here, it talks about surroundings. So it says places we live. Surroundings. The land and water around us are called our physical surroundings. Our surroundings affect the way we live, where we live, and how we move from place to place. So, the clothes we wear, if you live inland, which means on land, you're surrounded by land, it affects what you wear. If you live near water, it also affects what you wear. She's wearing a bathing suit and they're all bundled up. It also affects the foods we eat. If you live near the ocean, you're probably eating a lot of seafood or things that come from the ocean. If you do not live near the ocean and you're surrounded by land, you're probably not eating as much seafood. Same thing for the houses we build. If you live near the water, sometimes houses need to be raised up because the water comes in, where if you're surrounded by land, you don't have to worry about that. The ways we play. So if you live near water, you can sail, do some activities on the water. And if you're surrounded by land or you live just on land, you don't have access to that. So the question that was just asked for content after reading that story, Land and Water, and the physical surroundings. Answer this question. What are physical surroundings? We just talked about it's whether you live on what or what. Choose one of the the location of our physical surroundings can change our basic wants. So we just said, based on your physical surroundings, it can affect a lot of things. It can affect what we wear. It can affect what we do to play, the houses we live in. We talked about a lot of things. It can also change our basic wants. The things that you want might change based on where you live and what your physical surroundings are. So it says choose one of the following to do. So you're only choosing one of the following to do. I will read both. Draw a picture with the landforms: coast, hills, mountains or valleys, and water, streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, oceans that you wish surrounded you. Then explain to someone at home why you chose those landforms. What would you do to have fun in those surroundings? So that's one choice that you could pick, that first list of questions that you need to answer. Or the second choice is complete a double bubble on paper with chalk, on paper or with chalk outside in the dirt, sand. Get creative with it. Comparing Newport News and another landform. So Newport News is a coastal plain. So then you could compare that with another landform. So here it says, I think hills. You would pick a different landform to compare to Newport News. Remember, the two inner bubbles that are attached to both would be something that's the same about Newport News and the other landform. And the two on the outside would be how they're different, how the hills are different from Newport News and how Newport News is different from the hills, or whatever other landform you choose. So either pick this top one or this bottom one to answer. Once you've done that, that is it for our packet work for today. Just 2 more days of packets and then you are done. Next week there won't be a new packet, but it'll kind of be your catch-up week. If you haven't gotten a chance to work on something or fallen a little bit behind on the packets, next week is your opportunity to play catch-up. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. I'm going to be sending an email out at some point today with the information for our Zoom tomorrow, as well as the additional day that has been added for you to pick up your students' belongings from Gautreaux. So that'll be coming out today. And tomorrow we will have a Zoom at 1 o'clock, just like normal. Our second to last one. I love you and I miss you and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.